The external tank was the first to arrive in the processing flow. The tank was transported by barge from Michoud in Louisiana to the Kennedy Space Center and to the Vehicle Assembly Building. It arrived at the Kennedy Space Center on August 3rd of 2009. Once going under the bridge on the Banana River, the barge then begins its trip northbound, which goes along the Banana River until approaching the barge turning basin by the Vehicle Assembly Building. Here the barge is seen going underneath the bridge on the Banana River. This is the barge Pegasus that has been hauling flight hardware since the Apollo days, when Saturn V stages used to come in by this barge. Here is the external tank being offloaded from the barge adjacent to the Vehicle Assembly Building. And we can see Space Shuttle Discovery in the background being rolled out to the launch pad. And the barge was then towed over to the VAB to the transfer aisle, when it was then rotated to vertical and placed into a test cell for some checkout. And the external tank was then moved over to the high bay, to high bay 1, where it was lowered into position between the two solid rocket boosters. This was on the 21st of September. And after the tank was in position between the two boosters, it underwent checkout. We're now in Bay 2 of the Orbiter Processing Facility, where we see the installation of the orbiter docking system. This was being reinstalled after it had been removed from the Hubble Space Telescope flight. And it was then extended as part of a retesting sequence. Here are two orbiter booms just prior to closing of the payload bay doors. And that's the KU band communications tracking and data relay satellite antenna being stowed into the payload bay before the payload bay door was closed around it. Payload bay doors were closed on September the 25th. And then Atlantis was backed out of Bay 1 in preparation for going over to the Vehicle Assembly Building transfer aisle. This was on October the 6th, 2009. Here we are in front of Bay 1. And there's some of the team that has been processing Atlantis in Bay 1 at the Orbiter Processing Facility, and will be staying with it as it goes over to the Vehicle Assembly Building in preparation for being mated to the external tank and solid rocket boosters. Atlantis is now making the turn toward the north end of the Vehicle Assembly Building's transfer aisle, where it was then hoisted off the transporter using a lifting sling and rotated to the vertical position. And it was gradually rotated to completely vertical. This again on the same day, October the 6th. And then being hoisted directly into the high bay. The awaiting external tank and solid rocket booster stack. And then it was lowered down alongside the external tank, where it was affixed to the tank and the boosters for the shuttle interface test. A combination of electrical and mechanical checkout to assure that it's ready for rollout to the launch pad. The stack had already been checked out previously prior to the arrival of Atlantis. And then we have the rollout of Atlantis from the VAB to Launch Pad 39A on October the 14th. Rollout taking approximately 7 hours, moving along the crawlerway at approximately 0.8 of a mile per hour. And this is some time-lapse photography of the rollout as it arrives at the pad. And the shuttle gradually making its way up the ramp over the crawlerway of bed of river gravel. Again, we have some time-lapse photography.
I hear your question.
And joining us now here at the Public Affairs